Michael Roth, you've come out to the European Parliament to put your case here. Before we ask you about that case, just a bit of background really. What happened with this house in Cyprus? What were your retirement dreams really?
Well, we purchased the house as a holiday home. That was our initial concept. We thought perhaps in our later years we would retire to Cyprus, but of course, what's transpired over the last 15, 20 years, there's no way that I would entertain going to live in Cyprus.
And what is it that's wrong with your house and the house of others in your neighbourhood?
Well, the problem with the house is that they've been built on the wrong foundations. The original foundations which were required under the building permit were simply not installed. They're cheaper. A raft foundation, it's a hillside site, and raft foundations are not suitable for hillside sites. They were installed instead, and of course the problem is that it is collapsed because they're not the right foundations.
As I understand it, and as you explained in the committee, you've explored a number of avenues, but ultimately you've taken this case here to the European Union. Why have you chosen to do that?
Well, the chances of actually achieving justice in Cyprus are pretty remote, pretty well zero. So we thought we would take it to a higher authority in the hope that they would be able to help us resolve the issues. And it's just as simple as that, really.
So having heard what the committee had to say and the European Commission in their replies, a lot of it was to do with the fact that it's not the authority of the EU, that this is an issue for national law, for law in Cyprus to deal with. Why then can't you pursue a case in the courts in Cyprus?
I think it would be very foolish of us to pursue a case in the Cypriot courts against the Cypriot governments for the reasons that I've made fairly clear in the presentation today. Cyprus has a history of corruption and nepotism, and the chances of success in a Cypriot court would be pretty minimal. So you'll be throwing a lot of money at something which you probably would have no hope of winning.
How does it feel in the meanwhile to have a house that's not living up to what you hoped that it would be, to put it mildly?
Well, to put it mildly, it is extremely stressful. And I have to say that it's more stressful for the people who actually live in Paphos and have their homes permanently there. I mentioned Mr. and Mrs. Brooke. They're in their 70s, and their health and happiness have been destroyed by the fact that they're living in a home that is collapsing around them. It isn't very nice to have a collapsing home.
We heard from your local MEP Graham Watson saying that he's going to follow this up by contacting the European Commission. The committee also promised to put pressure on the EU to make contact with the Cypriot government over this case. Does that help your cause? Are you pleased with the kind of reaction you've had from here in Europe?
I'm certain that it will help our cause. Yes, I think that we're very pleased with what Sir Graham Watson had to say and the support that he gave to us today, and that we're hoping that the Cypriot government will listen, will remember the undertakings that they made in 2005 to stabilise and repair the dwellings, and they will do the right thing by us.
Ultimately, how do you want to see this resolved? Would you still like to have your house in Cyprus in a state where you can live in it?
I have a lot of friends in Cyprus, and not all Cypriot people are tarred with the same brush. Would I like to live and stay? I wouldn't like to live in Cyprus. I would like the matter resolved, I would like the opportunity to be able to sell my property. I've had the property now for 25 years. There's going to come a time in the not too distant future when I would want to sell it. To have the situation resolved one way or the other, whether it is through stabilisation of the properties and repair of the superstructures, or through some appropriate compensation, would be what we would be looking for.